Good evening and welcome to the first session of YouTube live sessions for BIMscape. If you'd like to just introduce yourselves in the chat box at any time, if you'd like to. The purpose of this really is to just give you guys chance to ask any questions on anything you may have come across with the beginners course. Or anything else generally. It's really aimed at the sort of beginners level. We'll be doing other sessions, and I'll be definitely giving you guys a little bit more notice. Had a few technical hitches in getting the software set up today, but I'm hoping it's going all right, and hoping you can hear and see everything on screen at the moment. So I think we've got 3 viewers at the moment, so that's good. It's off to a good start anyway. This sort of live streaming technology is new to me. As you know, I've done sort of many pre-recorded videos, so I'm on a bit of a learning curve. So please bear with me. So I'm just going to start going through some basics in Revit. And if anybody just wants to jump in with any questions, either on what you're seeing on the screen at the moment or anything else, please just raise your questions in the chat box. And I've sort of got this on a different screen here. Hello Lou. Sorry, I'm interrupting your lunchtime. I know it's probably not going to be a great time for everybody. Please note that I'll try and get a more appropriate time. It's difficult because if it's in a weekday, then people are either sort of at college, school, work. If it's a weekend, people have got other things to do. So it's oh, brilliant! Thanks, John. John's there. It's working. Can see and hear you. That's fantastic. I say I'm just. I'm putting my faith in that it is working okay, because say this is new to me. You've got to put some extra sort of software into the computer to create the stream out to YouTube. So hopefully this is useful to you guys. It's a way really of letting you guys sort of feedback, ask any questions, and also giving back a little bit, and almost like a live classroom environment. So I'm hoping, well, no, this will be a regular thing, and I will probably sort of take a consensus of people when is the best time. Of course, you can always catch up with these. They're recorded and available on YouTube, but the good thing about it is obviously with live you can ask questions as we go along. So I mean, are you guys sort of taking the free course or any of the paid courses? This isn't a marketing sort of spiel at the moment, but you'll have seen all the free videos. Basically the beginners course is completely free on YouTube for all the videos. We have got the PDF manuals to go with it available from the site, but that's totally up to you. Okay, let's start off here with let's get some walls down. Well, let's check levels first. So go to elevations, and obviously we need to be in a sort of side-on view to see our elevations. So flick that there. Obviously, being in the UK, I'm working in metric units, so apologies if it's a different unit that you're used to. So a lot of people have sort of asked for imperial units in the courses. It's something I definitely would consider. Obviously, you can appreciate it's quite a lot of work to do a second set of videos with different units and for the PDF ebooks, but definitely not ruling it out. It's probably not quite a priority at the moment, but I know certainly many people around the world are working in different units than I am. So let's just I've got to keep remembering to check down at the chat box. 1 p.m. Just short notice. Oh, apologies, Lou. Oh, hello. We got someone from France. Fantastic. Maybe be interesting to know where you guys are, sort of in terms of Revit experience. Whether you're sort of really new to it, whether you've got some experience, whether there's anything specific you're looking for. Hello, that's fantastic. Thanks for everybody introducing themselves. Right, okay. So levels, absolutely crucial in Revit. You can see here in the Autodesk template that they give you 2 levels to get you going, to get you started. So you've got something in there, but you're almost certainly going to want to add additional levels. Oh, thanks, Zane. Brilliant. Enjoy. I really appreciate the feedback. And also take this opportunity, if there's anything else to do with Revit, any other topics that I haven't covered yet. I mean, I've got quite a list of courses to come out this year, and it's just a case of prioritizing and trying to put them in some sort of order where they're going to be metric. Okay, just reading down here. John's okay, brilliant, John. Now I would say, as to sort of kick off this very first YouTube live session, what I've done is, if any of you guys did want anything from the store, be it an ebook or any of the courses, for the duration of this broadcast now and a short time after, give you an opportunity, you guys watching who've tuned in can receive an extra 25% off. Code LIVE1, LIVE, and then the numeral 1, LIVE1 for the first one, and that will knock 25% off anything at the store. So that's 25% off the price you see, and all the products at the store are on sale at the moment, and that's really, I started that last year when obviously the global pandemic started. A lot of people, I'm very conscious, are their jobs are precarious, or they've lost their jobs, or they're looking to reskill. So until everything is sort of under control with the pandemic, all the courses, all my material at the BIMscape store is on sale to allow it to be accessible to as many people as possible. And say just an extra little something if you want to use that coupon code, and that will be live for while this is going on, and I'll probably leave it up for a couple of hours after, give people a chance to have what they want. So okay, let's crack on with the levels. So you're going to use levels for the obvious things like floor levels, ceiling levels, roof levels, but anything where you've got a datum in your model, in your design. So it could be a structural beam level, it could be a sill level for a window, top of a parapet wall. So let's go and add some more in now. So you can go up to the menu to add these in, architecture, and towards the end there we've got datum and we've got level, but you can just hit the keyboard shortcut LL to create a new level. Now I'll just say again, you do have to be in a side-on view, so either an elevation or a section, because levels are always horizontal. So if you're in a plan view, you're not going to be able to see where you're defining that level. And if you do happen to be in a plan view, that level menu we saw before would be grayed out. It wouldn't allow you to do it. So let's go and add an extra level. Notice how the alignment line, it helps you set these out. Now what you're seeing here is just the graphical aspect of a level. And what I mean by that is the datum we create, the plane, is sort of infinite in its operation, if you like. So we can place objects anywhere at this height. It's not limited to just this line. This is just a graphical representation. So you can imagine if our elevations here, we might find it useful to have these at the side to see the different heights, or we could turn off the visibility of those, but the actual the plane, the datum would still be in there. Okay, so let's go through the aspects of this. We've got the height there. Now that is based on the project coordinate system. So if you like the Z coordinate, so we can select a level and we can just click on that value, and we can put another one in, just type it directly in. That goes up there. Above the line we've got the level name, so you can see that Revit has automatically named these in sequence as we've added additional ones in. And thing to note there, it does name them just in the order you put them in, not necessarily in the height order. So if you go and add another level down here, it would be level 3. It wouldn't know to sort of make it 1.5 or anything like that. It's just the order you put them in. I'm just going to keep checking the chat box. So 10-story building, how to apply general notes to multi-floors. So you're not typing this. Right, Ken, that's going to be a legend view. I'm imagining what you mean there when you say notes onto a sheet. So let's come flick to a sheet view. So there's my sheet. It's a little A3 sheet. So I'm imagining what you mean is if you've got you drag different floor plans onto different sheets, and you want like a standard set of notes. I'm assuming that's what you mean. Then that would be a legend view. The legend views, I mean, it's sort of obviously in the title really, it's for legends and things that it's a standardized note, and it's one of the few view types that you can actually put the same one onto multiple sheets. What you will find, and it's fine with sort of jumping around with questions or whatever. That's the sort of purpose of this live session, exactly what I intended it for. People can just ask what they need. So, for example, if I drag that level 0 floor plan and put it on there, I know there's no building on, but it's allowed us to put the view on. If we go to the second sheet and try and do that again with the level 0 floor plan, we get a warning it already exists and it's already on sheet A100. That is because when Revit starts to auto-populate the markers for elevations like this and sections, so all the reference bubbles, it can only do so. It only makes sense if you've got the corresponding plan on one sheet and its elevation or its section on another, so it can sort of cross-reference between the two. If you could put the same plan on multiple sheets, how would a ref on a section, for example, know which other sheet to refer to? So going back to your legend views, because it's a standard note, you can actually, in fact we've got it there, I've got some legends, you can drag those onto as many different sheets as you need. So that's where you would you'd create it. Let's have a look down here. Things like the wall construction with a leader. Oh right, okay. Be view specific 2D. I'd have thought the wall construct. Right, now that's a really good point. The wall construction. Let's have a look at this. No, yeah, I think you've beat me to it there, Ken. It needs to, if it's to do with a wall construction or any element properties, then you need to be having a tag to pull that data out of there. What you do not want to be doing is going to annotate text. I mean, if you come from an auto, you're going to be tempted to do now. Forget the garbage I'm putting in here. It could be anything, but you don't want to just be putting a piece of text with an arrow pointing to an element, because in Revit this is just dumb 2D text. It doesn't have any actual relationship in the database with what it's pointing towards. What you need to be doing is selecting your element, and you need to be populating the project information, or that element information, in here, probably down at this level, the type parameters. So we're really talking about the whole BIM, really, building up a building information model where the information, so in what Ken was asking about, the build up of the wall, the layers, the thicknesses, etc., they're contained within the element itself, and then we use, in Revit, we use tags to actually pull that information out and make a little note next to it. Let's have a look. So I'm just keeping an eye on the chat box on a different screen here. So yeah, we'd go to tag by category. Now we've got a question mark there because this standard tag for this wall is obviously pointing at a parameter in there, in that element that doesn't have any information against it at the moment. But the real power of tags is that you can configure them to display any information about an element that you need. So let's just go back to that piece of wall, edit type. So in fact, if I place this over here, we've got two levels, a hierarchy of parameters to do with any element in Revit. We've got the instance parameters here. So for that particular piece of wall that I've selected, those parameters are particular just to that one selected wall. So we could have a whole building envelope, all of the same wall type, and we can change any of these here for just that one piece of wall. However, the type properties in here, anything we change there will change all the elements of that wall type in the model, regardless of whether I've got them selected or not. So just be careful of that. But the reason I brought that up here is any of those properties there, or the ones listed here, you can set your tag to pull out those values. So if you wanted, I don't know, a drawing showing, well, any of this really, the manufacturer, or some comments or a description, you can configure the tag to drill down and pull out any values it's found. And that's why we're getting that question mark. This is pointing at one of these which doesn't have any information in at the moment. But you can go and change that yourself. Let's have a exactly in AutoCAD how it's actually creates some parameters in it. Yeah. I can imagine multi-floor text notes and schedule. Yeah. Yeah, I suspect a lot of, well, I know a lot of people come from AutoCAD to Revit, and should we say there's not necessarily bad habits, but there's just a way you do things in AutoCAD, and the problem is, you know, a lot of people have used it for a long time, and I mean, AutoCAD really is an electronic drawing board at the end of the day. It's very efficient, but you are drafting out what you want to see, same as if you used a pen or pencil or whatever. Well, in Revit, the main mindset jump is that you are, for the greater part, you're modelling your design, and you are letting the software produce the drawings from it. So if you start with that sort of mindset, you're building up this 3D model, you're populating those different elements with the information about them, and then you're using the tools in Revit to get it to automatically generate floor plans, sections, 3Ds, and to add notes on from the information that you've embedded against the different elements. Okay, so just won't spend too long on it, but just to show you that editing those tags. Now, tags are a family, just like all the other component families in Revit, which means they can be created and edited with the family editor. So, fit to edit family. This opens up the family editor. You might have come across this part of the program either intentionally or unintentionally. If you double click on a component family like a door or window, it will open up the family editor for editing. So if I pick the label there, so this is where you in the case of a tag, you set what data is pulled out. So there's that list of parameters. Now, because it's a wall tag that we're editing, you can see that's selected there. So the properties or the parameters that are only from the wall category. So it's, you can see there, the type mark, whatever, if you feel like that's a unique reference for that type of wall, that's what this tag is set to display. But there's nothing stopping. Let's have a look. Let's choose something. Length. Add that in as well. And you can have more than one property or parameter in the tag at the same time. Put that break on so it starts a new line. Just widen that a little bit. Now, obviously, if I was doing this for real, we'd sort of change all the box and all that sort of stuff. But just to give you an idea. Won't save it. We'll write the existing one. There you go. So it didn't. It's still not finding the type mark because we haven't added it in, but it is displaying the length. So I mean that might be really useful to somebody. You know, you've got a drawing which has got all the lengths of walls on. I know you could normally dimension it, but it's just the principle I'm sort of trying to get across is that any of those properties, instead of you, like in AutoCAD, measuring this and putting a little text note on, so why is that important? Well, exactly this reason. You go and change the length of the wall, it updates instantly. If that was a piece of text, obviously we've got to go and sort of make sure everything's coordinated. So a huge part of the power and bit is that it keeps all your information, or a lot of it, coordinated, so the plans always match the sections, the elevations, etc. Hello to the people that just joined us. 2 more questions yet. The advanced scheduling new course on your website, and also the family course complete now. Yes, yes. Good question. Yep, the advanced scheduling is a brand new one that's coming out in 2 weeks. What I'm doing, that is, I've put out the itinerary now. There's a 50% discount on that course as of today. That reduces to 30%, I think it is tomorrow. So just for launch day as of the itinerary today, that's 50% off. And if you are interested, you are quite entitled to use this code for this session now. This live1, LIVE, and then the numeral 1. We will actually knock you 25% off that as well, but that extra discount is only for this session, and I will leave it, to be fair, I'll leave it up for an hour or whatever just after this, because obviously I'm off here and start messing around with the website, so that will stay up for an hour or two just after this session, but that's it. So I'm just trying to give something back as well for the people who are tuning in for these live sessions. There's an extra, say, the discount off, but that live code can be used on anything at the store. Everything's on sale anyway even the big bundles, which is all the training material together. Has that answered the question? Family course. Now, the family course is that's in progress. There's also the MEP for any of you guys that are interested in MEP. That's actually tomorrow. That's still on discount today, ready for availability tomorrow. As of tomorrow, that goes up to normal, sort of standard price. But again, that's on offer now, and you can use that live code on that. So if pipe ductwork, conduits is your thing, but again, if you go to the site and you go to the courses section and you pick the course you're interested in, you can hit a button and there's a full PDF just opens with the detailed itinerary. So if you want to see exactly what's included in those, unit by unit, they're all listed there as just a PDF. I would say as well, for anybody who wants to just follow along on the YouTube videos, I have produced a PDF index sheet to the whole beginners course. So if you're quite happy just looking at the YouTube videos, I know they're in the form of a playlist, but I thought it would be quite useful to give you, I think it's a 2-sheet PDF at A4 you can print off, or if you actually just leave it on your desktop on your computer. I've put hyperlinks into each video. So I know what a lot of people do is print a copy off, and they can tick off or highlight the units they've gone through, and then keep one on the desktop as an electronic version, and you can go straight to the corresponding videos. So that might be an option. I think I'm trying to think where I put that index sheet, access to that. I think it's just bimscape.com/YouTube will take you to that, or in some of the descriptions of the YouTube videos. Okay, where were we? We were on levels, weren't we? Let's go back here. So we've got a few levels in our project. That you should be using levels as far as possible to control the height of elements. So for example, walls. If we take this wall, it's starting at level 0. So if we look over at its properties, base constraint, level 0, and the height of it, top constraint, currently that's set to unconnected. That term unconnected just means it's not controlled by a level or anything else like a roof it might be attached to. So it's unconnected, and if it is unconnected, as it is here, we have to tell it how high it is, else Revit's not going to be able to sort of display it. So that's what the unconnected height parameter is below it. And I would suggest that you minimize the use of unconnected heights. Again, it's the same sort of debate as we just saw using dumb text. If you have unconnected heights, so you've manually gone around and set the heights for all your walls, if you need to make a global change, so all your envelope of your building needs to come down by a couple of 100 mil, you've got to select all those walls and go in the properties and change it here. Much better is to tell it that goes up to level 2. Reselect it. So you can see there, top constraint up to level 2. The unconnected height is now greyed out. You can't manually put that in. You don't need to, because it's controlled by the level. So what you can do now, if I use the tab key, select the level. Let's just move these over a bit. Pick up that open circle is the grip. Let's pull them to the side of the drawing. So now if you're developing your design and you think actually the eaves here needs to be a little bit higher, you can simply drag that if you want to, or just type in the new value, and you can see the wall increases. So I'm just checking this chat box. Hello Lydia, beginner. You're very, very welcome. Glad you could join us. This is aimed at the beginner sort of level, and it's I'm just sort of tackling almost like random sort of things here with the levels and walls and whatever. But if any questions, Alexander from Mexico. No, you're very welcome. This is going to be the first of a number of well, just live sessions on an ongoing basis. The issue will be, I suppose, finding the time that suits most people. Everybody's very busy and has and different commitments. But I'll give that a little bit of thought. Some of you, it might not be appropriate to sort of tune into YouTube in work time. It just depends what your job is, and if that's part of maybe your training. Then stack them again from level. Okay, a bit more of an input there from Ken. So yeah, so that's a wall with a base and a top constraint, and you can add offsets to those. Now what that means is, let's take the base for example. So we're looking at this wall in elevation. So the base starts from level 0, so base offset is 0. So no override, if you like, is applied to that figure there. So it is from that level. So let's put in minus 500. See what happens. So the wall goes down by 500. It starts 500 below whatever level 0, whatever height level 0 is at. So it doesn't matter if we now lift level 0 up or down. The wall always maintains that finite distance of minus 500 down from it. If I'm honest, I've put this in some of the other videos and the ebook, I'm not a big fan of these offsets here, for the simple reason is, if you take over this project from me, so you're in an office, unless someone tells you, you're going to be wondering why that wall starts 500 mil down. It might be obvious to you. It might. I might have a very good reason for why that does, but it's just not very, I don't think, legible. What I would do, I mean, typically you do that to go down to a foundation, and you want this to go, let's say, 900 mil below ground level to the top of your foundations. Much better would be, I think, to have a level and call that I'll spell it. Something like that, top of foundation or whatever, and then set that to actually start up there with a 0 offset. To me, that makes the whole model more legible. I'll come back to that. I can see, and if I need, again, it's what we just said about the top of the wall. If we think actually the foundations need to be a little bit deeper, we can just go and change that there. Another 200 million, and all the walls go down. We probably have got foundations which are controlled, their top's controlled by this. So what we're doing all the time in Revit is we're trying to make our life easier in terms of reading the model and also making adjustments to it. You know, the engineer comes back to us and he tells us we need to lift some of these things up or down, rather than you then going to the individual elements. I know we can sort of we can group them and we can, you know, make selection sets, but we've still got to make sure that we select all those different bits and change their heights. It's easier to have them controlled by the levels, and then, as you've seen, just make adjustments knowing that all those elements change accordingly. Now, this is a very simple example. Imagine if that was an envelope all the way around your building, internal columns, floor levels, ceiling levels, even maybe window heights tied back to certain levels. we can suddenly start adjusting hundreds of elements very quickly just by tweaking the heights of these levels. Okay. Now, Clifton, good afternoon. I should have just said, I hope you guys are all okay. You're all well, and your families are well. It's very strange times indeed, and I'd like to think light is at the end of the tunnel with the vaccine rollouts and whatever. I won't delve too far into that, and then we'll sort of get political. But just say, wishing you all well, managing to stay busy and healthy. So hopefully these live sessions are of use. All these topics that we go in here, I've got separate videos that you can go through. So there's one just on levels, one just on walls. So with the courses I produce, rather than trying to do it by building, I know there's lots of YouTube videos where someone starts from scratch and builds a complete building up. I've sort of gone the other way and split it down into the separate concepts. So hopefully it should be quite easy to follow. Right, okay, yep. Let's have a look. Ken wants to see the types. Sorry, walls even. Oh, let's get back in here. Okay, wall. Just leave that on a second there for Ken. Just scroll down. That, Ken, is the just the Autodesk template, the standard template out of the box for 2021. So I was just having a sip of coffee there while I talk. Now, starting, I think it was just this year with 2021, is for the first time, and this threw me a little bit because I didn't sort of read it anywhere, is that up until very recently, when you installed the new version of Revit onto your machine, okay, yeah, this might, what I'm going to say now might address it. Up until now, when you installed Revit, obviously it installed the program, but it installed all the default libraries, and obviously it would pick up on your localization, where you were in the world, and sort of put your language packs and whatever, but it would include the component families, so all the generic doors and windows and columns and whatever you get from Autodesk, just to sort of get you started with some components. With 2021, it just installs it obviously installs the program, installs the basic template for the construction template or whatever, but it doesn't install all the component families. So you go to hit window, whatever, and you go to load family, and there's no libraries there. What you've got to do now, and I'll show you here, and I've done a video, you'll find this in the one of the fairly recent videos I've just done, is now it's on inserts, I think. Yeah. So on the insert menu, now you've got this Get Autodesk Content. I should be able to do that here. Let's bring that up. Yeah, Autodesk Revit 2021 content, and you go down and you find your component families. So there you are. That's the one I had to install. So you'll need your family templates for your family creation, and also this is your main library. So these are all your extra doors and windows that Autodesk supply. So there's two parts to this. You've got to download that. When it's downloaded, you need to extract it and then run that. That installs and unpacks those components onto your hard drive. You've then got to go and configure Revit, and this is the other bit. You've got to go and tell it where those are. So you've got to file and options, file locations, and you've got to go down to places. I'll just do this again slowly in a second, give you guys a chance to follow. A metric library, tell it where those libraries are. So let's cancel out of that again. So to get the content, insert, get Autodesk content. That'll open up your web browser. That's just telling me I haven't saved this for a while. It'll open up your web browser. Go and find the library that you need for where you are. Download and install that just as you would any other program you add into your computer, and then go to File, Options, and you only have to set this once, and once it's done, that's it. And then File, Locations and Places, and make sure you might say obviously Imperial Library, whatever your units, but it knows where to find that library. Now it will install it generally in Program Data, Autodesk, and then whatever folder is named the current version of Revit, and that's where it'll find the current libraries. Don't point it to old versions of your libraries, because one, they might be outdated, but two, Revit's got to update them because the file formats change each year. Although most of the objects are probably exactly the same, it has to upgrade the model, as you'll get that every time. It's just a bit of a pain. Okay, let me right. Just going to, sorry guys. Let's move that back there. Okay. Move that back down. Right. So I've lost your, bear with me a second. Lost the chat box. It's when the browser opened. It's going to come back now. Right, we're back in business. So I've got the browser on a second screen and showing you. Here we go. Right, let me catch up with these. Right, I lost my happening since I was rabbiting on. Let's have a look. Okay, welcome to the people who've just joined. Okay. Here we go. Right. If you're modelling walls like that with your levels for how should you stack them so that have walls go? Oh, right. A good question from Ken. Let's go back. So what Ken's asking is, say it's a 3-story house. You've got ground floor, first floor, second floor. Is should you have your ground floor wall? Should you do your walls in story height? So a wall that goes from the ground floor to the first floor, and then a wall that goes from there to there. Personally, I would just do it as one. You can still let your windows. So if you're on level 0, which is basically the first floor, and you put your windows in, the windows will still be referenced to this level. You've got control over your window heights. I don't see any advantage of splitting the walls. The only time you would do that is obviously if the wall changes style. You know, it's rendered at a certain level. And brickwork below or above, that sort of thing, and that's where you would possibly use stacked walls, which allow you to create a wall type which has different build-ups as it goes up its facade. But I'd follow the rule. I tell people in Revit, model it as you would build it. The problem is if you do it in story heights as well, you get obviously you can see the lines, and you have to sort of use techniques to, because I'm assuming you don't want to see those on the elevation, these horizontal lines between the elements, and you can get into trouble with, you can imagine if you've got like a stair behind here, and there's like a landing, and you've got a window on the landing that spans between the two walls. That can cause you problems because it doesn't know which one to host into. It's not going to cut the other. So at least if you've got one decent wall all the way up, you've got no problem putting your windows into it. So let's carry on reading down there. Okay. Good afternoon, Phil. Thank you very much for the feedback there about the videos. Yes, the families course. That is, I've had a lot of problems with it. If anyone who's taken the families course, there has been a lot of issues with that. And thank you for bearing with me. Off here in 10 minutes, I'm back onto that and a lot more other things. Now, anyone who's purchased the families course already, and you guys will know if this is you are having the MEP in the scheduling course added to your accounts. That's not a problem because people have been very patient there, and I do appreciate it. So those, I hope they're of interest to you. You'll be having those added to your account. It might just take me a little while to work through and add them because I've got to do it manually. The whole website runs on WordPress, which is, for the greater part, it runs okay. But it does mean when something goes wrong, I've got a lot of fiddling behind the scenes to make it work. But yes, the families course, there's more content coming tonight, tomorrow, and basically all this week. MEP launches tomorrow, so tune in and enjoy that one if that's your thing. Say ductwork, pipework, mechanical equipment, that sort of thing. The scheduling one is that's available now for pre-order. That's at 50% discount. Now scheduling, that goes into every aspect of scheduling. So there's a base for free on YouTube about scheduling, just gets you up and running. But that course specifically, we do calculated values, conditional formatting, we add parameters to schedules, all that sort of stuff, key schedules, quantities. So if you're interested in getting data out of your model and how you present it, how you export it, that's all covered in the scheduling course. So that's 50% discount today. And then goes down to 30 for this week coming. So for anyone who's joined and missed it, for this session now and probably an hour, if you do want to grab any of the material off the store, there's an extra discount on top of the sale prices. You just need to put the code LIVE1, LIVE, and the numeral 1, no spaces, LIVE1. I just name that because it's the first session of the live sessions. LIVE1 into the checkout, and it will knock another 25% off anything that's in your basket. So everything's on sale and will remain so for the foreseeable future, and that's really just because of the state the world's in at the moment, and giving people just trying to make the material as accessible to as many people as possible. But obviously this is my business. This is what I do. It's not a side sort of hustle or anything like that. This is my income, but it's trying to get a balance of making the content accessible, but also making it sustainable. But for this session, there's an extra gift, if you like, a discount of another 25% off. I'll leave that live for an hour after this. Let's keep an eye down on here. Oh, brilliant. Mask, what monitor you use for Revit? Needs to buy. Right. To be honest, right, what is this, Ken? I don't think the make. I've had it for years. It's basically my setup is it's quite an old now Dell M3800 workstation. It was state of the art at the time, about 2015-16. It still runs pretty well, really. I chose that because at that time a lot of my training was live in offices, so I needed to travel around and take a decent laptop with me. But anyone who knows the Dell, I mean, it's the professional version of the XPS range. They call it the workstation range. so it's got dedicated graphics in as well. It was a decent laptop. It was very expensive at the time, but I said it was setting up the business and wanted something that was going to last me a few years. It's probably just about come to the end of its course now. It runs Revit okay at the moment, but so I've got that, and it's an Acer. It's an Acer monitor. It wasn't that much. Again, it's quite a few years old, so I can output to the laptop screen, and then Revit's running on the monitor above. Obviously, I'm showing you guys the whole interface here with the properties palette and the project browser docked here, so you can see what I'm talking about. But quite often, if it's a large model, I will take those off, and you'll see it disappearing off screen. That will go onto my other monitor, and I'll do the same with the project browser. And again, just for ease of you following along, I'm just doing sort of single windows here. We've got the tabs now that have been around for a few years, but once you take those two elements of the interface onto a second monitor, if you've got one to use, then you've got a lot more real estate, if you like, to see your drawings, and you can then start tiling them, and having a plan and a section and a 3D all up at the same time. So yeah, but monitors, they've plummeted, like most computer hardware. They've plummeted in price. So all I would say is, if you guys can either self get a second monitor, it makes Revit a lot more usable and enjoyable, because say you can get some of these elements of the interface onto a second screen. And again, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago now, it's probably longer than I thought, you can now take these drawing windows onto another screen, whereas before that people were doing all sorts of funny things, like trying to stretch the application window across two monitors, and the menu things up here would be lost in between. But there's no need to do that now. Revit fully supports having different views on different screens. Let's have a look down here. Okay, recommended your beginners playlist for the person in the Facebook group. Could we share the? Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is. Yeah, it's. I think we're saying is, can anyone else use? Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to be watching now to use the code. I'll say I'll leave that up for a couple of hours, because people are going to come off here and get a cup of tea or get their tea or whatever they need to do, depending on what time or their lunch. But it was just to, I suppose, make it a little bit of an event of having this first YouTube live session. So again, I'll repeat that code. It's live1, LIVE1, and it gives you 25% off whatever the basket price. Now all the courses at the website are on sale at the moment, and unlike a lot of other course platforms, I've always done this with all my courses. Anyone who's taken it will know this. When you purchase the course, you are purchasing it for life. It's not. I don't set a time scale when you have to take it by. The only caveat with that is the free. If you take the free course off the website, then you've got 30 days to take it. So there's got to be obviously some differential between just giving the course for free and you have to wait each day for units to be released. But the rest of all the paid courses, you log in with your account once you've bought them. So if you've accidentally deleted the PDF or whatever, you can just log back in and re-download it, and you can come back at any time. You can take the course as many times as you like. You can stream the videos from the website, or they have download links. If you want to download those videos to your computer, your tablet, you want to sort of go through them on a commute, or you want to put them on a laptop to view in bed or whatever, it's up to you. So you're buying the courses, but then you can come back and re-download them. So don't feel that you have to learn them or take them in a certain amount of time because you're going to lose it. It's you buy it and then it's there for when you want. So if any of these deals at the moment, these discounts are of interest to you, you can buy them now, and then you can just sort of come back when you're less busy, knowing you can log in and just take those. It's sitting there waiting for you. Let's keep an eye on this chat box. Yeah, no, Ken, that's it's going better than I thought, to be honest. For the very first one, I was a little bit nervous because it is live, and it was more the software side of things. Really, I'm more than comfortable with using the software I've got to record videos. That's not a problem. I know how that works. But when I came to do the live thing on YouTube, I found out you've got to have another bit of software to actually create the stream and send it to YouTube while it's live. So that didn't work earlier until I played around with some graphics card settings, and suddenly it looked like it was viable. So hence, for anyone who's, that's the other thing I should mention. If anybody here is not subscribed to the BIMscape newsletter, it's just an email newsletter, I would recommend you do that, only because things like this I send out to that mailing list, and plus like special offers or new courses. So it's just a standard email list by MailChimp. So again, anyone who sort of knows me, it's a single person company. I don't do anything with your data. It doesn't go to anyone else. It's just a mailing list for people who have got an account or interested in what I'm sort of producing and when new things come out. So it asks for very minute. I think it's just an email address and a name if you want to give it. But you will be sort of alerted then to these sort of sessions. But yes, there'll definitely be more of these. Let's have a look at based in Virginia. Just shoot. Yeah, I mean, I say everything. Everything is on sale at the moment, so there's hope. I mean, there's more courses coming along throughout this year. There will be more videos on YouTube. So I know every YouTuber says it. So hit the subscribe button if you're not, because again, it's getting a balance. As my main business, as my only business, I need to make money from it, but I also like to share some of the information, hence these sessions and all the free videos on YouTube. But there's more free videos coming along. If you haven't sort of checked out the video list, obviously, but there's one called, I think it's just called Revit Tutorials, and the new one, Quick Tips. There's quite a few new videos over the last 2 or 3 weeks on there, and the Quick Tips one especially, they're only 2 or 3 minutes each, but there might be something that you didn't know about or you just want to review. So if you want to check those out, let's have a look. Right, oh, okay, thanks Ken, I will check that out. Right, okay, any plans to do BIM 360 stuff? Yes, yeah, right. Just before I go, I plan on doing about an hour. BIM 360, probably, yeah, I say probably. At the moment, I think certainly for this year, there is so much in Revit that needs covering. Just my thoughts. We've obviously got the MEP coming out. We've got the advanced scheduling. There will certainly be one on title block creation and template creation. So a standard Revit template that comes up time and again with people. What should be in a Revit template? How should it be set up? How should it be structured? What do I need to include? How do I make a title block for my company? So there'll be a dedicated course on that. The whole issue of collaboration, that's a big topic, and it's essential. How do you work with linked files? How do you insert linked Revit models? How do you sort coordinates out? How do you do the basic clash detection in Revit? So that'll be covered in there. A lot of people are interested, obviously, in graphics, rendering, walkthroughs. It's not Revit's strongest point, but you can get some fairly good enough presentation material out of Revit. It's if you're into the real high end sort of animation stuff, you're then into using other software. But we can certainly cover graphics in a bit more detail, so that might be useful. What else? Shared parameters. That we will go into that in the families course, but I mean that's such an underused part of Revit, I think. These courses will vary in size. Some of them might be sort of like mini courses, like say just title blocks or shared parameters, and then some obviously covering larger topics. So there's plenty coming along. So I mean that it's just mind-boggling. It's still mind-boggling to me how much there is in Revit, how much power there is, and how much is generally goes unused by most people. It's that thing, isn't it? You get used to the tools that you need on a daily basis, and you don't bother with the rest. So part of the my goal, if you like, is maybe just to introduce some of those things that you didn't delve into. You think, actually, yeah, that'd be useful to me, and this is how I do it. I mean, still a little bit undecided on the concept massing and all the conceptual design environment, as in whether that would warrant a course. I see it time and again when people are using Revit in offices, where by the general sort of Revit population, the users, a great interest in that. People are still sticking with SketchUp, and I can see why. I used that many years ago. But a lot of people don't realise that you can actually start in the full version of Revit with sort of mass forms, and you can do massing studies and then convert those to Revit elements all within the same program, which has its advantages, because obviously it's all in the same ecosystem and you're not sort of having to mix and match between programs. Let's have a look. It's a lot of practice using zero BIM. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Some people sort of use BIM and Revit, those words, interchangeably, and we're doing BIM because we've got a copy of Revit. I mean, BIM itself is more a way of working. It's a methodology, but it does have obviously its own protocols. Now, at some point, I'll probably be delving in it. You can appreciate it's a little bit more difficult because a lot of those protocols will be country and region specific. So, if I create a course on level 2, level 3 BIM or whatever here in the UK, it's there might be some general concepts people can take away, and that's why you may have noticed in my courses I concentrate all the time on concepts and ideas, how tools work, rather than what I don't want to get into is saying about specific wall types, building regulations and things like that, because what's applicable to us here in the UK isn't applicable to someone in the US. So, but if I describe how to make a wall and how to manipulate that wall and edit it and etc., then it doesn't really matter what your local regulations are. You know how to work with a wall, for example, in Revit. So you won't find me really referring to regulations in these courses, because it's a global audience. You can apply your local regulations as you need to. Okay, I'm going to wrap that up in a little while, guys. So again, just thank you for tuning in, everybody who's viewed. I really appreciate your time. If this is useful to you, there will be more of these coming along. I think when it goes live, coordinate linked site plan and Revit 3 points. Hi Jim, there's a familiar name there. Having problems now with coordinating linking a site plan. Okay. I know you've emailed me before, Jim. Do you want to maybe drop me a little email on that and see if I can help out a little bit? Just want to make sure course. Well, that's yeah. It's exactly. I don't know your codes. You know your codes. I think you just need to know how to do the things in Revit you need to do, and then you'll apply your local codes. So yeah, exactly. I try to keep the material universal. I say, but the only thing is, appreciate you guys are maybe not used to seeing these units, but it's you know, it's not a. I mean, it won't take me long just to change the units. I might do that for some of these videos. But then I'm not used to seeing the different heights of feet and inches, but it's not the end of the world. That's the only. So yeah, if this has been useful, we will be having some more. I'm gonna try and aim for probably maybe once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks. As you know, when that will be, I'm not sure. I don't know whether I might do a little survey on the newsletter or something like that, and just try and get a consensus. You know, I know a lot of people are. The YouTube channel seems to get a lot more views in the week than it does at the weekend, which tells me that people are maybe tuning in at work to sort of either take the course or find out something specific they need to know about Revit. So it might be better on a weekday. I really need to ask, and rather than make any assumptions. So yeah, I can do the feet and inches. Again, I try when I'm in the courses not to tell you to do specific heights or anything like that, because you know, if I'd rather just keep the concepts general. It doesn't really matter how high these levels are. For example, the essence is that you can put a level in and you can set it to whatever height you need, and to know why you're putting level in, why you are using these tools in this way. That's what I try to do with all the training material, rather than just say do this, do that, do this next. There's plenty of people on YouTube doing that, but unless you know why you're doing it, you're not going to be able to apply that to any other scenarios. So that's the way we tackle it, and it seems to be working pretty well, I think. But again, I really appreciate you taking the time to tune in. I think when I go live, say this is all new to me, but when I hit the live button, I think you guys get a notification via YouTube that it's gone live. Just conscious if that's the case, it's not really much notice. You know, there's not many people going to just drop what they're doing and tune in. So what I will do is, once I give some thought to when the next one is, I will actually announce that in one of the BIMscape newsletters. So if you're not, if you head over to the site, and I think if you just go to one of the articles, if you hit articles, bring an article up, you'll see on the right hand side there's a little email box for signing up for the newsletter. Just simply ask for an email address. So I don't do anything with your data. It just sits at MailChimp, who I use along with hundreds of thousands of other people, just to send emails. And you can unsubscribe at any time with a standard unsubscribe link at the bottom. But just in case anyone who's just joined, and just before I head off, as part of this launch of this BIMscape Live, as I've called it, there's an extra discount on top of the currently sale prices, the discounted items. Everything's on sale at the BIMscape stores. You choose whatever you're interested in the format, whether you just want ebooks, whether you want the videos, and they're there for you once purchased for as many times as you need. There's no expiry on them. You'll notice they come with what I call a lifetime access pass, which basically means that the system will remember your account and you can log back in, re-download as you need to. So if you want an extra 25% off those sale prices for the next sort of couple of hours, just use the code LIVE1, LIVE1, no spaces, and that's a numeral 1 at the end. That'll knock you another 25% off the price that you see at the checkout. If you are catching up with this at some point in the future after, those codes won't work. This is just for the people tuning in now and a short while after. So I'm just going to finish up reading through this chat box. Got notified with... I've got... Oh, right, okay. Other challenges happened to glance. Yes. I think that's because that's my fault, if you like. It was I'd planned this morning to do this session this afternoon, but when I came to set it up, and I say I've got this open source software, which the streaming part of it, it didn't work. So I sort of thought, right, I'm gonna have to spend a little bit more time before I sort of get it ready. But then I tweaked a few settings, and it seemed to solve it. and I just thought, well, now's as good as time as ever. Just let's give it a whirl and see what happens. So yeah, it's the fact that you guys are actually responding and chatting stuff means you can hear me, and it seems to be working. So I'm really pleased with how it's gone. Say I will get another session lined up. I'll probably, I think this format's worked really well with people just asking questions. I'll probably have a basic itinerary or agenda. I might even make a quick PDF for each of those, and we'll get it a little bit more structured. But then you can sort of interject with questions as you need to, and we'll sort of dive around. I want to try and keep it informal. It's not a classroom setting, and it should be. It's there for you guys really to learn from. Ask if you don't understand something. That's the beauty. I can go through it again live now if you sort of raise a question. So I'm going to bring that to a close now. Really appreciate you tuning in, and look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks very much, guys. Bye for now.